What's up, guys? The Artist here, and welcome back to another edition of Stories No One Asked For, the podcast. I know it's been quite a long time since I have sat down and done one of these episodes, but considering the topic matter on this, I felt like a podcast episode on this was necessary because yeah, for the issues that I'll get into here. But of course, like always, we got to take care of a little bit of business first. Stories No One Asked For, the podcast is being brought to you by the great people over at moviesreusa.biz. And they're a great website where you can go over and get those hard to find movies and TV shows that aren't being released on physical media these days, and you can get them for a great price. And if that great price just isn't great enough for you, you can use my checkout code artist at checkout, ARTIST, and save yourself 50. That's right, 50% on your entire purchase, not just one item, 50% on your entire purchase. And not only that, because I like you and because you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to give you free shipping too. Okay, so head on over there. Let them know Artist sent you. I mean, like TV shows, ones on streaming services that they don't release on physical media, movies that you haven't seen on physical media in years. Those hard to find ones, like you want a DVD of something that they want $100 for on eBay. Man, come on over to moviesreusa. .biz and they'll have it for you for a nice reasonable price. And like I said, if the price isn't reasonable enough for you, we're going to give it to you for an even more reasonable price with my checkout code artist. So come on over to moviesreusa.biz. Keep physical media alive, okay? All right, so let's get into today's episode of Stories No One Asked For, the podcast. It's been a long time since I've done this. Man, when was my last episode? I don't even know. But recently I've done an episode before on past issues on YouTube, and recently some issues have come up on YouTube because mainly over the past few years I've mainly been a live streamer. I've quit doing quote unquote original content, and the reason I gave up on that is because you know, you're not given a chance on YouTube these days, and the last, like, when it comes to, like, again, quote unquote original content, when I say quote unquote original content, again, I like to consider myself a creative person and stuff, but again, some of my stuff was not really outside the box. I think the only thing that was really outside the box was my show Game On. That's when I really got creative. Um, But, some like Taste Test. Taste Test was the last original video that I uploaded. And it was like a 30-minute video. And within 4 minutes of it being up, this is when they still had the thumbs down button and everything. I mean, they still have it, but it's not like displayed. You know what I mean? And within 4 minutes of it being up, it had 4 dislikes. And I'm just like, So I was like, all right, that's it. I'm done after that. I'm not gonna sit here and waste time making videos if I'm gonna work on a 30-minute video and then within 4 minutes, it's gonna be thumbs down like that. So I'm not gonna waste my time. So I went directly to live streaming. And live streaming has its ups and downs. And I went to live streaming for a bit, and some nights it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun and everything. And then I got a PS4 at the time, and I went strictly to gaming. I just did games and everything like that. And eventually one night, I've told this story before, and I always say that, like, I don't remember what it was that night, but something happened one night where I was like, fuck this, I'm not gaming. So I finally sat in front of the camera again and said, all right, let's just do it like a normal stream. And we had an incredible night. And we were off and running again. And lately, the streams just weren't working as well. And again, we'd have our good nights and we'd have our bad nights. And then one night, we're just sitting there chilling. And all of a sudden, the view counter went up higher than it normally does. And all of a sudden, we get all these random people asking questions. Now, we have someone who comes into our live stream named Taylor. And the first thing Taylor says is raid. So I'm prepared for it. And like our view count went from like 9 to like fucking 38 real quick. So all these people asking questions. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people think they're like, oh, I don't want people watching me, stuff like that. That's not the case at all. I'm all for people watching me. I'm all for interactivity and everything. You want to come in and ask questions? Fuck yeah, man. Ask all the fucking questions you like. I'm all for it. So this night, people come in, view count goes up to like 38, and I'm like, fucking hey, man. All these questions come in, right? So I'm a very big fan of like reading everything in my chat, even if it backs me up. Like there's been times where like I get high on my chat, on my lives quite a bit. So there's been times where like I will stop to read one comment and then rant about that comment for like 10 minutes straight and then go to the next one. And I'll be like, 20 or 10 comments behind, whether it be small comments or not. So when 38 people show up and like, 15 of them are asking questions and everything, that's going to back me up. So I stop my chat so it stops moving. I go to the first one and I start going. I'm reading their questions, and some of them are like typical questions, like, what are you going to ask for Halloween this year? Because this was back in October. And I'm like, I don't really dress up for Halloween. Next. And I'm going through all the fucking questions and shit. And some of them were just like weird questions, like, what are your thoughts on Joe Biden? I'm like, I don't really have a political view, but all right, whatever, and just, shit like that. And by the time I get done with all the questions that these people have asked, I'm back down to 8 viewers. And I'm just like, so why did all these people come in and ask questions just for them to leave and not wait for their answers? So that's what made me a little miffed. I'm just like, all these people came in, they asked their questions, and then by the time I get to them and everything, they didn't even wait for their answer. So that was like my issue with it and such. So anyway, we thought it was like an isolated incident, and we moved on. Another day. I didn't really put too much thought into it until it happened again. One night, same scenario. I think there's like 8 people there, and then all of a sudden, number shot, and Taylor again, right on cue, raid. Which, I find it funny how Taylor's always there when a raid happens. I'm starting to think something fishy is going on there, but whatever. But anyway, she's like, raid, and again, the same scenario happens. All these questions come in, and I think this time it didn't go up so high. I think it went to like 27 or something like that. I don't know. Went to like 27, like, fucking views. And again, same thing, questions coming in. So again, I stopped to check, because was I high this night? I'm pretty sure I was high this night. So I stopped the fucking chat, I start reading them, I start answering the questions, and get the same thing. By the time I get done with all these random people's questions, because again, I don't know these people. These aren't like my usual people who come in and shit. But I'm more than happy to like, okay, let me answer their questions. And again, some of them were kind of like off color. I'm like, why are you asking me this? Like, well, what was one of them? Like, I know in Halloween, one was like, are you going as a pumpkin for Halloween? I'm like, okay, I guess, I don't know. I can't remember. But some were like off color, so like, we just block that one and move on. But some of them, I'm like again, like for example, the Joe Biden one. I'm just like, what are your thoughts on Joe Biden? I'm like, I don't really have a political view or anything, and we just move past it. But again, the same scenario. We have like 27 people, and by the time I get done with all these fucking questions, they're fucking gone. And I'm like, why? Like, why? Why are you going to show up with a group of fucking people, ask me a bunch of fuck questions, and then fucking leave? Like, why are you even wasting your goddamn time? That's like going to McDonald's and like, let me get a number 1, a number 3, a number 4, and a number 8, and then while they're making the fucking food, you just leave. Like, why the fuck are you going to make them make the food and then just fucking leave and not come back for it? You know what I mean? That's what it felt like to me. So again, after that, I finally told my crew of people who come to the fucking live, I was like, all right, that's it. For now on, whenever a raid fucking happens, we're just not going to entertain it. Like, that's it. I'm fucking done. I tried to be nice. I tried to be like, okay, they're going to come in here and ask questions and fucking, participate in whatever the fuck it is that we're doing at the time. And, like, fucking we'll entertain it. But, like, if they're just going to fucking leave while I'm entertaining it, then I'm not going to fucking entertain it. It just seemed like the easiest fucking solution to the problem. You know? So that was the new philosophy going forward until November. Because, oh no, you know what? I missed a part. I have some notes written down, and I actually forgot to write down this part. Because there was like a time after the second raid, or was it after the third? You know what? I'm skipping ahead. Sorry. So, during November is when shit got real, in a way. I'm live one night. Because I usually go live on, or I did go live on Thursday, sometimes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That was my schedule. That has changed now. Because I've been broken. We'll get into that. Well, or you can tell from the title, because I'm pretty sure I have the title in my head, but whatever. So, one night, again, same scenario as always, live, view count goes up, all the questions start coming in, and I just fucking sit there, and I tell everybody, I was like, we know the deal, just sit and wait, because by the time they ask all their fucking stupid questions, they're gonna be gone, so, like, I'm not gonna entertain it, and I assume the leader of this group, was like, no, we're gonna stay a while tonight. And I was just like, are you really? And they're like, yeah. And to his credit, they didn't all leave at once. So I was just like, all right, because I was very standoffish. I'll admit, I was very standoffish. I was very like, I did have an attitude about it, because I was just like, what's the fucking point? Y'all are just gonna leave the second I start answering your fucking questions. So like, what's the goddamn point? And they're like, no, we're gonna stay. And or the leader was. There was a guy and a girl, or supposedly a girl, had a girl's name, they're like, no, we're gonna stay and fucking hang out. And I did hear like a tiny clip of the guy saying that like he was trying to come in and smooth things over. That I think out of everything I'm gonna tell you, that's like the biggest horseshit lie that they said, right there. Oh, we were coming to smooth things over. Yeah, okay. So they're hanging out and shit, right? And at the time, I had to take it down because of this. But at the time on Facebook, there was this ad for the fucking. There was a fan in Philadelphia who came to the Philadelphia Green Bay Packers game, and instead of wearing the Green Bay Packers cheesehead hat, the Philadelphia Eagles fan was wearing a Philadelphia cream cheese makeshift hat. Well, Philadelphia Cream Cheese took it upon them to actually make real hats on that. And I bought one from Amazon. It was the greatest, dumbest purchase I've ever made in my life, right? So I wore it one night on the fucking live, and then it sat behind me on the lives and everything. And it kind of started the gimmick of like, at first it was all Philadelphia Cream Cheese presents whatever night I'm live and shit like that. And then I started changing it to other shit. So it sat in the background. I liked it in the background. People were like, what the hell is that? Is Philadelphia cream cheese? I'm like, it's a hat. They're like, no way. So again, the question popped up. I think it was actually the girl who the girl co-leader, I guess, who proposed the question. I could be wrong on that. I don't want to misquote any of these fuckers because I don't want to hear from it later. But I think it was the girl who posed the question. Or it could have been one of the random people in their group. Because I remember the number of people it was. It was 28. It was 28 people because of what happens later. It was 28 people. Because we did have to kick out of people because of some off-color shit. So finally, we'll just say somebody posed the question of, hey, what's that Philadelphia cream cheese thing in the background? And, fair question. So I was like, oh, that's a hat. And they're like, no way. Well, you have to put on the hat. And I was like, I'm not putting on the hat. Oh, no, that's not what I said. I misquoted myself. Usually when people ask me to do shit on a live, like usually I always wear a hat on a live because like I'm bald up top now, and I don't like being seen without a hat now. I don't even go out in public. Y'all think it's just on camera. I go out in public with a fucking hat and shit without being seen without a hat and shit. I fucking take a shower with a fucking hat on. So I was like, pay some money, because that's usually my response to everything. They're like, oh, do the fucking one chip challenge. I'm like, pay some fucking money, and that's usually where that conversation ends because, my fucking PayPal balance is always dry, So they're like, oh, well, how much? That's when they all perked up. They're like, well, how much? How much do you want? How much do you want? And I was thinking, I was like, what would be a number? Now, at the time, there were 28 people in the room, and some of them were my crew. And at the time, there was only 5 of my crew in there. So I was like, I'll tell you what. There's 28 people in here right now. I'll take away 5 for my people. So we'll say $23. That's $1 for each of your people in here. And they said, okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. Right? Meanwhile, I'm filtering out fucking insults from this group, but like they're like penny ante fucking insults and shit, So I'm just like, it's just shit that I don't want to hear, So like I'm kicking them out. This is one I have written down because like this is the shit I don't get. Cause get ready for the word of the day, people, and the word of the day is villainized because I don't understand why I was because I'm going to be villainized for a lot of shit coming up, but this is the one I don't understand. Is the night that this happened, I just bought a new Selena shirt. I'm a big Selena fan. Selena is one of the most iconic fucking people in music, in my opinion. So Walmart had a new Selena shirt, and I fucking bought it. And it just so happened, I think like either the day before or 2 days before, her father died. And apparently, to these people, me wearing the Selena shirt was my fault for her dad dying. Because the comment, I could be misquoting it, but it's in the ballpark here. And you're wearing a Selena shirt, and her dad just died. What was it, the fucking term? Something along the lines of like, you rat bastard. Or something like that. And I didn't respond to it at the time, but I saw the comment, and I'm just like, how is that my fault for wearing this? So me wearing a Selena shirt is the reason why her dad died. And that's my fucking fault. And that's the shit, and that's just one of the fucking things. So anyway, I'm waiting for the money to come in, right? So I'm like, so I asked, I was just like, so is the money coming? And one of the people, this one I don't remember who said it, but they're just like, why are you yelling at us? I'm like, I didn't. Like, I was just asking a question, And then 4 different people to the question, like, is the money coming? 4 different people are like, it's coming. And I'm like, okay, why did it take 4 different people to say that? If one person is sending money, shouldn't one person say it's coming? Like, again, it's shit like that just doesn't make sense. But again, it became my fault. Like it didn't make any sense to me. What else do I have written down here? The yelling thing is what got me. They're just like, why are you yelling at us? I'm like, I'm fucking not. Like, it was shit like this that just, and then the money came in. And the second the money came in, there was like 5 people in their group just insulting me. And not like the fucking like, oh, you're fat. Like, fuck, I know that. I can look in the mirror and see that. But it was just horrible shit to the point where I was like, you know what? I sat here. I was very standoffish at first. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'll give this a chance. You guys didn't fucking leave when, you came in, you said you're going to stay, and you did, so I'll give this a chance. So we brought up the cream cheese hat. You said you'd pay money, but then, like, people in your crew just keep fucking insulting me. So you know what? I don't want it. I don't want to do this. I don't want the money. And the money came in from I don't remember the cat's last name, but the name was Anthony. Um, and I was just like, listen, I don't know who Anthony is. I don't know which one of you are Anthony, but you can have the money back. And then it turned into the fucking Spartacus scene. You know, because then like 5 different people were like, I'm Anthony. I'm Anthony. I'm just like, see, this is the shit I'm talking about, man. You know, like I just asked to fucking sent the money, and then like 5 or 6 different people were like, I'm Spartacus. Like, oh my god, like this is the shit I'm talking about, right? Um, let's see here. What else is here? And oh, the coup de grace, right? And up until this moment, I have been fucking very calm. Recently, side note, recently I've been diagnosed bipolar. So they've given me some medicine for that, and the medicine works very well. Yes, I get upset at shit, but I'm very like more relaxed with it. I don't freak out like I used to. I mean, I still get upset, but I'm not like again. You'd have to go back to when like I was really upset with shit compared to now. Like if I get upset with something, I will sit here and talk about it. Like this pisses me off. But I'm not like God damn it, motherfucker. That's how I used to get pissed off of shit. So up until this moment, I'm very calm and chill and relaxed about shit. I don't like what they're saying. They're like, why are you yelling at us? I'm like, I'm not yelling at you. What the hell? Like where are y'all getting yelling from? So we get to the cream cheese hat situation, and I finally just say, you know what? I don't want your money. You can have it back. And I send the money back. Listen to this carefully. I'm going to remove the puffer here for a second so you can hear this. I send the money back to the Anthony person, to one of the 6 goddamn Anthonys that were there. I send the money back. Send the money back. All right? And they were fucking adamant that they were just like, well, you have to put the hat on now. We sent the money. I was just like, I sent the money back. They're like, but you have to put the hat on now. I'm like, what part of I sent the money back don't you get? And Homeboy's next move was to send the money right back to me. Because at first he sent it as a PayPal business transaction. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's 2 kinds of transactions on PayPal. There's goods and services, and there's friends and family. If you send it friends and family, if I send fucking $50 to somebody, friends and family, and I try to report that as like, hey, like this didn't go right. PayPal can just be like, well, you sent it friends and family. That's kind of a problem, not our problem, But if you send it goods and services and then go to PayPal and be like, hey, I sent this goods and services and everything and something went wrong, PayPal can be like, all right, let's take a look at this and see what's going on. So when he first sent the $23 as goods and services, I knew I was going to get fucked eventually. Because he can file a claim on that and get the money back, and that would fuck my PayPal account / bank account, depending on which one it was. So I knew eventually he was going to claim that, So I was like, oh no, you are not getting me, buddy. I've been through this road before, because I've had it happen before. Somebody fucking claimed a fucking $120 claim on my account. Thankfully I had all the fucking info and receipts, so to speak, to back it up. So that's why I definitely sent it back. It was mainly the insults from their crew, but like definitely once I saw the goods and services, I was like, oh no, you ain't getting me. And like I remember hearing like their defense was just like, it was $23. What am I gonna claim on that? I was like, doesn't matter the amount. You can still claim it and screw me. It doesn't matter the fucking amount. So then the money is sent back to me. This time, not as goods and services, as sent as friends and family. But again, I sent it back again. I eventually had to fucking block the person. I've never had to block anybody on PayPal before. I can't believe there even is a block function on PayPal. Like, I have to block somebody from sending me fucking money. Like, think how absurd that sounds out loud. Okay, like, fucking, I have to block somebody from sending me fucking money. Okay, so I, blocked this person, and again, I was like, oh, and I'm on live while this is happening. You know, and I'm like, I have to send the money back to them again. And the crowd, their people are just like, well, you have to put the hat on now. I'm just like, again, I sent the money back. Like, what part of this are you not getting? You know, and for some reason, what did it? What did it for me is that like 4 or 5 of their crew claimed that I was a scammer. You know, now for anybody who knows me, you know, I used to collect wrestling autographs, and the Facebook community for wrestling autographs was big for a little bit. Um, and you know, there's a lot of scammers in that fucking department, I guess you would say. And I've seen a lot of them. I've worked with a lot of them. Hell, that $120 claim that I had, you know, that somebody claimed as goods and services and shit like that, that was from the autograph community. You know, so I've been there. I've done that. I know the scams. So the fact that, like, not only did I send the money back, you know, and then the fact that they tried to claim that I was a scammer on top of that, for some reason, that was the thing. Out of everything, they were insulting me, calling me a retard, calling me a fat ass, calling me this, calling me that, fucking making fun of my teeth and what's left of them. They were making fun of my teeth and everything like that. That was the thing that fucking sent me over the edge. I don't know what it was to this day. I still think about that, and I'm just like, I don't know what it was about the word scammer that sent me over the fucking edge. But after that, that's when I sent, like, we have a guy who comes in, Death Punch, and like 5 years ago, Death Punch was like, all I had to do was say, do it, and like he knew exactly who to fucking kick from the fucking group, you know, and like the second I said, do it, that's it. We went into fucking I was like, everybody who doesn't have a fucking wrench, do it. I don't give a fuck. They could be a nice person for all I know. Yeah, and there were some people in there who weren't being insulting, you know, but at that point, it just became a matter of just like, just get them out, you know, like, I'm done. You know, you're not going to sit here and call me a scammer. It'd been one thing if I kept the money and said, all right, everybody get the fuck out, you know, but that's not what happened, you know, because it became a situation like, if you go listen to the other YouTube episode I've done, it became a situation, which I'm Gary Busey now. It became a Scion, CYON. It became a create your own narrative. It didn't matter what I was fucking saying. Didn't matter. They were going to come up with whatever fucking story fit whatever story they were trying to tell. So by that point, once it became scammer, it didn't matter what I was saying. It didn't matter. I was like, I sent the money back. It didn't matter. Didn't matter at that point. You know, so that's when I was fucking done, you know. And I thought once we did that, we were done. We were all fucking done. You know, I was like, we kicked them all. That was it, right? The next night, I'm live, and a couple people come in, and they're like, hey, I saw you on TSN. I'm like, the sports network in Canada? Like, what the fuck? How'd you see me on there? Was I playing High-O-Lie or something? What the hell? Like, I didn't understand it. Then another person came in. Oh, I saw you on TSN. I'm like, what the fuck are they? What the fuck is TSN? You know, like 3 people came in. They're like, I saw you on TSN. I'm like, okay, can somebody clue me on what? Because the only TSN that I know about is the sports network in Canada. That's the only one I've ever heard about. So finally, somebody clued me in on what TSN is. And I'm not going to fucking tell you what it is. Like, fucking figure it out yourself. Because TSN's the furthest I'm going with their name. They're not going to get any more fucking free advertising from me. But I finally get clued in on what it fucking is. And I was just like, interesting. So, I go to their fucking YouTube channel. And then I see that, like, oh, okay. I see what this is now. It's not just, oh, let's raid them and fucking fuck with them. It's, oh, let's go to his channel, steal his content, and fucking make fun of him. That's what it is. So I was like, oh, great. Now I got to go and file fucking copyright claims. Great. Awesome. Now, for anybody who's ever fucking had to do a copyright claim on YouTube, it's very fucking tedious. You have to have timestamps. You have to have timestamps of that person's video. You have to have exact timestamps too. Exact timestamps of your video and where it is in their video and such and such. It's a tedious process. It can get done, but it's tedious. They make you work for it. And I go there and I see they're using footage from my videos and such, and I start the fucking process. And I'm working and everything. Now, in order to get the timestamps, you have to scroll the video to find it, obviously. And I had the sound on because, like, they already had a video up of me, and I refused to watch it because I'm like, I don't want to hear what they're saying about me because, bipolar, fucking my mental health and everything. I don't want to hear this shit. That's the last thing I fucking need right now. So, but as I'm scrolling, I accidentally left the sound on to get to the timestamp where my footage starts. And as I get there, I that's when I heard the phrase, like, we went in there to smooth things over. I'm like, fucking horseshit. You came in to smooth things over, you fucking piece of shit. And then, what was it? Oh, one of them was, I read one of the comments. One of the comments was just like, what is he wearing? And they're like, a Wheel of Fortune blanket. I'm just like, okay, so I'm not allowed to be cold anymore. So I'm villainized for being cold. Okay, can't allow to be cold anymore. So there's another one. But like one of the things that they were upset about was I went to the store recently and bought some movies. I went to the store and bought some movies. And I found this movie that you don't see every day. It's a movie with Whoopi Goldberg called The Telephone. It's a movie that she did back in the 80s. It was like when she was still riding high in the 80s, Burglar, Jumping Jack Flash, those movies. She did that movie and she kind of sued for it. And, it still got distributed, but it didn't do well. And it's kind of a kooky movie. It's kind of weird and everything. Anyway, we're not here for a movie review. Point being is, they were just like, oh, man, he bought that movie and, like, just villainized me for fucking buying that movie and shit. But, like, the thing was, the clips they were using were extremely out of context. Like, I mentioned that, like, I watched the movie Videodrome lately, and I just didn't really get it. They didn't show the part where I didn't get it. They didn't show where I said I didn't get it. They just showed where I said, what the fuck was Videodrome? That's all they showed I said. They didn't show the context or anything. And that, again, Scion. Create your own narrative. They're just going to create whatever story they want. And also I heard that they were talking about my book. My book that I came out with, Between Dreams and Waking. Available now in the description down below. But they were talking about that. And the thing that got me was they were just like, what would really piss them off? And I was like, oh, this should be good. And they're like, we should buy his book. And I'm like, why would that piss me off? I'm just like, fucking, yeah, you guys are terrible fucking people and shit, but like, fucking buy it. That's what I've been trying to do. Fucking buy it. Tell me how you like it. That's all I want from it. I don't understand how that would piss me off. I even left a comment on that fucking video because here's the kicker to it. As I'm going to fucking file, I'm following the copyright, right? I'm at the timestamp phase of it in the copyright because you have to write your name and channel and the channel that you're copyrighting and shit like that. So as I'm going to get my footage to see where my timestamps are, I noticed that I deleted the video. Well, now I have jack shit, so I can't file shit unless I have the video. So I'm out of luck there. So I was like, you know what? I'm at least going to leave him with a little fucking comment, I left him a comment saying, they're like, well, look what I stumbled upon. It was essentially like, I went to go copyright it, but I don't have the footage anymore. So, but hey, next time you mention my book, one, get the story right, because they were just like, it's about a guy who falls in love with an AI girl. I'm like, the fuck? That's not it at all. You know, I only had 3 links in my description that you could have clicked and figured that one out. But again, create your own narrative. And secondly, maybe you could drop the title in your video, you know? And third, maybe fucking drop me a little revenue from this video since you are using my fucking footage from it. I probably cleaned that up a little bit for the YouTube comment, but you get the gist of it, right? And I left it at that. You know? I left it at that, and I fucking went on my way. Thinking again, all right, I'm done with this. It's over. You know? And I will say, they did have one fucking funny line. I will give them. When I bought the movie The Telephone, they were just like, you bought The Telephone? That movie's so bad, it should have been played on a telephone. I'll admit, that made me laugh. I'm not going to lie. Made me laugh. It was pretty funny. Because The Telephone is kind of a weird, kooky movie. Anyway, so again, I thought I was done. I was like, all right, I'm over this. I'm fucking done. Let's move on. You know? I'm live one night, again. And, did I get everything? Everything except for those 2. Okay. So I'm live one night, and one of my viewers, Elijah, he was just like, hey, so I just checked this channel, and you're on it. I was like, what the fuck you mean I'm on it? He was just like, yeah, you're on it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I go to the channel, and I'll be damned, I am on it. I was just like, man, I haven't even been fucking with these motherfuckers, man. And they're fucking with me. You know? So, again, I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. Now, if you look at the beginning of these people's videos, there's a whole fucking display that says, hey, we use clips from videos, which I'm like, wow, they admit to stealing clips from videos right at the start. Got to give them credit on that one. And, oh yeah, and before their videos, they put this big disclaimer at the beginning that basically says, yes, we are stealing clips, which, give them credit for that. And then they're just like, if you have a problem with it, before doing a copyright, email us or contact us like an adult. And I was like, okay, all right, you want us to be an adult? I'll be an adult. All right, so I tracked down fucking Homeboy's email, which was on his Instagram, and I sent him an email. Basically, like, essentially summing up basically this podcast, where it was just like, you know what, I could explain this shit, but you don't care. It's about creating your own narrative, fucking da-da-da, context, you know, basically all this shit, right? And I did admit that the telephone line was funny. You know, I did tell him that the telephone line was funny, right? And again, left it at that, right? But, lo and behold, they post another video of me. And I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. They post a fucking disclaimer on their fucking shit that says, come to us like an adult. And that's exactly what I do. I don't get an email back that says, hey, thanks for reaching out to us. You know, you fucking, oh, you explained that to us. And like, oh yeah, that line was fun. No, I come to you like an adult, which wouldn't have been my move 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I would have been fucking like in their comment section, like fucking going to war. You know, I would have been sicking other people in their comment section going to war. But no, it said, come to us like an adult. And that's exactly what I did. I went and found their email, which is on Homeboy's fucking Instagram page. I emailed them. I sent them an email. And I did. I fucking, you know, said my grievances. I was like, you know, you don't care about the context. You don't care about this, and this, and this, et cetera, et cetera. Did I get it like, okay, thank you for reaching out to us? No, they fucking post another video about me. You know? And that's when it all changed. That's when I was fucking just broken at that point. You know, because like that's when I realized that like everything I'm doing is put under a fucking microscope. You know? Like if I go out and buy a movie that they don't like, I get villainized for it. If I'm cold in the basement and put a blanket around me, I'm going to get villainized for it. You know, if I don't do something they want, I'm a scammer. I get villainized for it. You know? And the thing that really got me is when Elijah told me that they were live about me. So I go check it out and shit, and the part that I hear is like they're critiquing one of my fucking lives, and like I say something like no one's here. I'm like, oh man, no one's here. And one of the guys, I don't know who's who and shit, but he's like, oh man, you could have 150 of us rooting you on right now. Okay, weird, but okay. And it couldn't have been no more than a minute. It couldn't have been no more than a minute later was he insulting me in the same sentence. So I'm just like, so you claim that you could have 150 people here be like, fuck yeah, artist, or Will, whatever the fuck you want to call me. Fuck yeah, Will, artist, you know, you're fucking right on and shit, but then you insult me within the same goddamn sentence. You know, like, that's the kind of horse shit that, like, you know, like, oh my God. But that's why I had to transition. I had to make a pivot, you know, because, like I said, everything is under a microscope. If I say something like, oh, there's only 6 people here, that's going to be under their microscope. If I say something like, oh, that was another one. I bought the first season of the Saved by the Bell reboot. And like their comment was, what was it? That's not even the old one. It's the new one. Because I fucking like the new one. You know, the fucking, you know, I mean, I was skeptic at first, but I liked it. You know, like, see, that's what I mean. Like, I can't fucking do anything without it being under the goddamn microscope, without it being fucking villainized. You know, I can't do anything on YouTube without fear. And that's what it is with these people. You know? So that's why I had to fucking, like, make a fucking pivot towards, you know, back to gaming lately. Because I'm just like, I you know, when I sit on the live now, and I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, if I say, like, hey, last night I watched, you know, Ed Wood, are they going to come in and be like, oh, fuck, you know, are they going to come in and fucking villainize me for that? I've been villainized for a movie before. We all know that fucking story, you know? So, like, you know, if I say, like, oh, like, fucking, you know, the cartoon Hercules, like, am I going to get villainized for that? You know, and that shit fucking terrifies me. You know, like, what am I going to say that's going to fucking piss off these people? To the point where I had to take down the fucking cream cheese hat in the background because, like, that was no fun anymore. I couldn't have the cream cheese hat in the background anymore. It ruined that shit. You know, these people have fucking just broke, you know, me / live streams and everything. And the funny thing is that I stumbled across, like, a short on my YouTube, and it was, like, from this random guy. I don't even know who it was, but it had, like, TSN in like the description, and I clicked the video short, and it was just like, hey guys, I got a email from this group named TSN, and they want to interview me on their show about my content. Oh man, I so wanted to leave a comment that just said run away fast, you know, because like I just knew where that was going, and I got the same offer. They asked me on the live like, oh, why don't you come on our show and we'll interview you. And I was like, you can go to fucking hell. I didn't say that. But I was like, no thanks. Because, like, you know, because, like, that's where it was going to get worse. Because if I would have came on their show and they insulted me, oh, man, that just, man. Because, like, back in 2013, you know, when, like, there was a bunch of defamation of character shit going on back then, I had to get a fucking lawyer involved. You know, thankfully, I didn't get to the degree where, like, you know, like, fucking, like, I just had to contact one. Let's just put it like that. You know, there was shit in place, but it didn't have to go any further. And I didn't want to fucking go through this again. So that's why I just had to remove myself from the situation, is what it was. So, did I get everything on my list here? I did. That was everything. So, yeah, I just wanted to come on here and just explain that situation. On here. It's kind of a short episode. I know the episodes usually go a little bit longer. But I just wanted to come on here and explain what happened and why, you know, probably won't be in front of the camera for a little bit. You know, I've kind of shifted back to gaming right now, and, you know, maybe do some more podcast episodes, some more, unnecessary commentary. Me and Nick will probably be on camera for, you know, of course, a 3-way dance wrestling podcast, and when my next book is ready, I would definitely be on camera to promote that. So, if you ever hear the letters TSN on YouTube, and it is not the sports network in Canada, run away fast, because they are going to find a way to create their own narrative around you, no matter what you say about you. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the story that I wanted to tell you here. Because like I said, they're gonna villainize you for anything. And I mean, there was parts where like I would say like 2 words, and they were breaking it down to be like, oh well, this is why, you know. I just, and even when I was live, I would say stuff, and you know, I'm being villainized. You know, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. And I mean, like for years, YouTube hasn't been fun. You know, it was more something to do. And like this group really just, you know, the best example I can say is that like when I was in high school, I used to really love drama. You know, I wanted to be an actor for a long time, or be in the film business. And when I went to my high school in Houston and took drama there, like my drama teacher really sucked the fucking fun out of it. Like the people in that class sucked the fun out of it. The plays they picked sucked the fun out of it. And this is exactly what that group of people just did. You know, it's really fucking sucked the fun out of it. You know, what little fun there was to be had left on YouTube have really sucked the fun out of it. Because, like I said, like, I feel like now if I'm just like, oh man, I like X movie, they're going to be like, what? Like, you know, they're going to villainize me. You know, I get villainized for being cold. You know? Like, oh my god, he's wearing a Wheel of Fortune blanket. I'm like, fuck, I can't even be cold now? You know? Like, it's just, it's ridiculous the way people fucking act on YouTube. You know? And it's despicable to me. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. If you have listened to this, and stay tuned for some more stuff coming soon. So until next time, I am the artist, aka Will. And remember, be breezy.